carries. On to D, retaining town clerk treasurer for possible interim time frame. We had somebody in mind, but they are not interested at this time, so perhaps moving on to E, in advertising for the clerk treasurer position would be a better use of our time.
Make a motion to authorize advertisement for the clerk treasurer position.
Jamie, do we have adequate funds in the budget in your budget, in the clerk treasurer's budget, to post some advertisements?
Yeah, it'll go under printing.
Okay.
I'll second the motion.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. F, update on the phones within the clerk's office. There is approximately $11,000 from last year's budget to replace the phone system. Jamie is looking to replace just 2 phones in there to match the phone that she currently uses, along with a caller ID trunk card, so that the town then has caller ID. That's a cost of $612.
Jamie, last year we had approved the acquisition of a new phone system. Have we, if you can just refresh my memory, have we abandoned that as a board officially?
What do you mean?
Have we approved the acquisition of a new phone system?
Right, it's still in the capital.
So are we gonna take this from there, from that capital
You can,
expenditure?
yeah, just make sense of sitting there, and then figure out for when the audit comes through to release the remaining.
I'll make a motion to approve.
So you're just replacing 2 phones,
It's just,
basically?
yeah, it's an update, it's just uniformity, so all 3 have the same phones, so when we do, it's,
I'll make a motion.
Second?
Second.
Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. David German's objection to invoice charges, letter D. The Germans were unable to make it today, and there is a letter that Jamie has someplace.
the email that I received this morning, he asked that I read into the minutes this evening. I just read, "Good morning, Jamie. Sorry to read in the paper about your resignation. You're very good at your job if left alone to do it. This evening's agenda item in regards to my inappropriate bill, I regret I will not be able to attend the meeting. My workload does not permit as at this time we are working 3 major road projects plus winter conditions." He apologized to each board members, Mr. Fisher, Mr. Alaska, Mr. Wolf, Mr. Bansky, and our town chairman, Mr. Merrick. Please accept my apology, and I will be contacting the town to reschedule another date. Sincerely, Edward German.
I'll move the table in consideration of the receipt of the letter from Mr. German
And are we tabling until he requests
Yes.
being put back on the agenda?
until a certain date.
That's fine. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. On to H, appointment of a weed commissioner. Matt, and I think we misspelled your name.
That's right.
Oh, it's correct, okay, I apologize, very good. Town ordinance requires that the town has a weed commissioner in place, and it's gonna be a slow few months, I would suppose, for Matt. There probably aren't a lot of weeds out there, noxious weeds to be a problem. But I have appointed Matt, and Matt has accepted that position. I don't think we need to, there's no swearing in or anything for that, is there?
I believe there is, I still have to go back through the ordinance, or the statute for that, I can.
Does it have to be
There
a
is
public thing, or is it a private?
It's just it's a,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Moving on to I, the 13 and 2015 operating license for Caitlin Minch at Tally's Tap and Eatery.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. On to J, resolution of the 2013 to, I believe this should be 2015 joint municipal court increase.
I'd have to look at the ordinance.
Just resolution
Oh.
13-25.
Oh, it's the resolution number.
Okay.
I missed the number sign. Sorry.
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution, authorize signature by the chairman on behalf of the board.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. On to K, appointment of election inspectors for a 2-year term. And those election inspectors are, it's a long list, folks. Roger Adams, Republican. Gloria Anderson. Nick Aversa, Republican. Al- Alan Biermeister. Carrie Beers. Andrew Casper. Carol Draba. Sonia Dan User. Michael Darrow. Bernie Frank. Diane Fuller. Edward Fuller. Mary Graves. Bernadette Grubb, Republican. Bob Grubb, Republican. Bonnie Grunfelder. Corey Grunfelder. Lori Lee Helm, Republican. Lori Kiewit, I apologize, Republican. Phil Krieger, Carol Luntz. Betsy Mathis. Fred Meyer, Republican. Julie Mitchell. Betty Paget. Kathy Piala. Celine Probst. Joanne Rodeman. Audrey Schultz. Barbara Stillwell. Richard Soluski. Al Swenton. Marlis Tesh. Barbara Schrommel. Edmund Voigt, Democrat. John Baumler, Republican. Joan Hewlett. Eric Jacobson, Republican. Sandra Krieges, Republican. Anthony Krause, Republican. Mark Naparella, Republican. Elizabeth Novak, Republican. Kent Primrose, Republican. Jim Sullivan, Republican. David Zoot Avern, Republican. Kristen Hammer, Republican. And for all of those names that I butchered, I apologize in advance. We need a motion for that?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Jamie,
Discussion?
Just one quick question, Jamie. Who in here are our election captains, I think it's called?
Well, there are chief inspectors, and currently we have Mike Durr and Betty Paget that are currently fit the status. There have been a number of election inspectors that have stepped up. I believe there's 5 more total that are starting their election training hours. There's a required 6 hours within 2 years and all that good stuff.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, do we have a second?
Yep.
Yes. Anything further? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Update on financial auditor for 2013 financials. We've got a couple of resumes, one from Baker Tilly. Did we end up getting? We did not. We have one resume from Baker Tilly. I think at this moment, this is going to be just for your information, and we need to wait for the other resumes to come in and table this until the next meeting.
I'll make a motion to table.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. M, request for waiver of ambulance charges due to hardships. Number 1.
Just a quick update. It's been a while since we have received one of these. This is the standard letter that has been requested by the board way back when regarding this issue in order for the board to consider waiving of these hardships. And again, due to HIPAA, that is why you have request number 1 and request number 2. Thus staff know who.
So request number 1, Jamie, just so I can be clear, is the one where the resident received a 100% community care determination.
Yes.
I would make a motion to accept/approve the community care and waive the town of Waukesha rescue bill that is included due to the 100% community care determination.
I'll second.
Discussion? From my perspective, I am not going to support that because I don't think it's in our interest to be waiving bills. That's not, I don't know where that would end. Anything further? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Nay. Motion carries. On to number 2, request number 2.
The second one, I'll identify it. This resident was determined to be eligible for community care at a level of 65%. Their total bill is $593.20. So my motion is to absorb or write off the difference of collection of $266.94, which is the 45% number, and that's my motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second it. Question, how do you get to the 45%? What's magical about
Yeah,
that?
I bad math, sorry, 35%. They were approved for 65% Community Care Act,
Yeah.
so the 35% would be the approved number,
So what is that number?
207.55.
207.50. Thanks.
Anything further? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Nay. Motion carries. On to N, retaining town attorney for possible interim timeframe. You've got 3 resumes in front of you.
I guess just for informational purposes, there is a resume there from the law offices of Arens, Moulter, Macy, Riffle, and Larson, SC of Waukesha, Wisconsin. It includes a municipal resume of the different municipalities that they represent and that they are consultants to. And then the significant balance of it is personal resumes of the individual attorneys who are in the firm. I solicited this after we received Attorney De La Mora's notification to us last Thursday that he would be resigning his position effective the, I believe, 31st of December of this year. This communication also had an email over the top of it that I think was sent to all board members, and I talked personally with Mr. Macy. He expressed his interest and willingness to serve the town as town attorney on an interim basis, and he provided briefly in his email communication some of the basically standard terms and conditions on which he would propose his engagement. So I'm the source of the solicitation of that response.
My personal preference would be to both of these law firms, the Davis Colfell firm through Christopher Jagels, as well as Macy Riffle Larson, Aarons Moulter, were two of the four firms that I had mentioned at a previous meeting in creating a committee to obtain this kind of information and establish a process by which the board would select counsel and set expectations and such. At this time, I would seek to establish a meeting to be held on December 30th of 2013 at 6 p.m. to review the submissions of the attorneys and to establish any interview or protocol process to be placed in a position to conclude this legal search at our January 9th meeting. So I'm not in favor of appointing an interim counsel. Attorney DeLamore will serve through the end of December. We'll be at risk for an entire 9 days. And I think we can make this a priority to square this away. We're not talking about, nobody else has submitted any attorneys to myself. And Brian, you haven't said that anybody has submitted any to you, so I know that I'm waiting on information similar to the Davis Culpho from Crivello Carlson. I've talked to William Deneen, who has served the town before. I talked with him this week. He was going to meet with his partners and should be forwarding us information if they're interested, and they may, maybe they're not interested, but he will let me know that, he said this week, and then I'll forward that. So I think we'll be able to hit having all the information from the available sources in the supervisor and chairman's hands for review. That review would obviously be in excess of 10 days here to be prepared for a December 30th special meeting to discuss any questions or concerns or issues that want to be addressed or establish any interviews with these parties. And I'd look to put the onus on us to conclude this search and make a new attorney offer by January 9th. And I guess that's my motion, to establish the December 30th special meeting and to place this item on the January 9th agenda as well.
So is your motion then, Joe, not to, for no interim attorney, but rather move forward with just retaining a permanent attorney?
That's my preference. I'm not making that as my motion. My motion is just to set this timetable. And I think the absence of having an interim attorney and understanding that that's a priority then for the board to establish getting through this quickly and efficiently with the knowledge that we need to have to make that decision. We may be down to these two firms. That might be the reality, because I don't know if Crivello Carlson is interested yet.
I guess I didn't quite understand. Are you saying that you're going to ask that all this information be submitted by the 20th of December?
If Crivello Carlson is interested in serving the town, I'll have that information by the end of the week, which is tomorrow. And we've already forwarded this information to the other supervisors. The purpose for the December 30th meeting would be for us as supervisors to discuss the information, concerns that, or questions, or potential establish a interview protocol that somebody wants to entertain, and then to put that on a timeline. This is a critical position. I don't see why we as 5 board members can't find time to get this wrapped up by January 9th. And having an interim counsel creates the ability for this to become a dragged out process, and it doesn't, we're not the Senate, we're not appointing the Attorney General. We are hiring an attorney to serve the people of the town, and we may not have but 3 choices for who that's going to be. I think we can get that done by January 9th. I think putting an interim counsel in place could result in dragging that process out, and I'm not interested in dragging that out.
So what are we doing on the 30th? Where are we interviewing whichever attorneys are interested? They're gonna be here and we're interviewing them?
By December 30th, I want to just be able to sit as 5 members of the board and discuss get your feedback, Larry, Mike's feedback about any questions, any parties that you want to specifically interview, and then go establish those interview dates with those attorneys and get them together. I think that interview process will end up needing to be in closed session, as that could involve things that need to be discussed that way, but we can talk about that too, whether we want to interview everybody in open session or closed session. We had done it, previous boards had done that in closed session, doesn't mean that's what we do. But I'd like to establish on December 30th for us to sit down, talk about these attorneys. It gives you time, if any of the other 3 board members have other counsel that you wish for us to go and explore and obtain resume or curriculum vitae information on, we can go and do that. That gives you that time to do that, but on December 30th, I'd like to sit down and talk about what we like and what we don't like with the selections, and maybe nobody will want to interview people. That's possible.
Is it your intention to give these firms or any others that might come along some kind of guidance as to the information that we're seeking?
My understanding was that this was the information we were seeking. We wanted to know who they were, how long they've been serving, what their experience levels were, and that's what you have obtained from Macy Riffle, and that's what I have obtained from, we got almost identical information.
Well, we did, except are we asking people how they would go for services and that type of thing, or what? I mean, are we asking for complete information?
I think that that is prudent for us to have, yes.
Excuse me one second, Supervisor Fisher. Deputy Douglas? I'm sorry.
The only thing I wanted to let you know is, so you're aware, we actually have a court date in North Prairie Court on January 2nd. So I don't know how that affects
I
anything with
understand. Thank you.
citations going to attorneys or anything like that before the court date. Just want to make you aware.
Perhaps we move this up, why don't we move this up a little bit?
I'm committed to working with the board, we gotta get this done. It's a critical position. With Jamie's departure, it has increased sensitivity, I think, to get this particular piece behind the board.
If you're getting the final piece of information from Corvello Carlson tomorrow, then why don't we move this right up to the 16th? We'll do it on Monday.
I'm good for that.
Brian, any conflict?
No.
Supervisor Wolf?
Monday, what time?
6 o'clock?
Oh.
Monday at 6. So Joe, would you amend your
I'll
motion
amend
then?
my motion to establish a special meeting on December 16th at 6 p.m. to review the submissions from candidates for legal counsel for the town of Waukesha.
I'll second. Just one question.
Now, just want to clarify, I'm removing the meeting of January 9th, correct?
Well, January 9th, just the
We're
standard
fine.
meeting. It's the second
okay.
Thursday meeting.
Supervisor Fisher?
Just for clarification, we are not expecting any of these people to be present on the 16th, is that correct?
That is correct. That is my expectation.
Is there a reason we wouldn't want them here?
I think if you want to, if there are people that you would like to interview, I think we need to establish the times for their availability and not tell them, hey, gotta be here at this time, drop what you're doing, 6 p.m. I mean, they may be traveling for the holiday. I have no idea. So that's why I wouldn't say, I think we need to first understand what we have so far and what Corvallis Carlson may or may not do. And that will frame a discussion for the board as far as how we move forward. Are these our selections, or do they come into the mix? And then what is, you had described that you wanted to have an opportunity to interview them and things like that. Do we establish what that's going to look like?
Let's move on. Anything further? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. On to O, 2013 budget amendment.